what's happening?
Usually we have him over here, but sitting directly to my left, the man himself. We've been posting a little bit about it on Facebook and on my Twitters and stuff like that. Adam Lynn. Adam, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great.
I'm telling you, man, it's good to Adam. Adam actually came early today. Usually, we're waiting for the guest to get here or whatever. I said, hey, can you be here between 7:15? And he was actually here. I mean, 7:15, 7:30, and he was actually here at 7. So it's great to have you here.
It's a gentleman.
Got a ton of stuff to
be
talk
early.
about.
Yep.
Want to pick your brain on a few things. Related to jiu-jitsu, MMA, and stuff like that. But real quick, don't forget you're here. We're now full contact Fun-Addicts.
Fun-Addicts. We're addicted to fun.
Full contact Fun-Addicts. Don't forget we're here every Monday from 8 to 9 o'clock. Sometimes we run a little bit past, so make sure you come check us out. We're here at the sports complex. The only reason I was able to give Adam directions to get here is I said, look for the big food truck out in the front.
Taco truck, buddy.
Yeah,
Taco truck.
The taco
Found
truck.
it.
You see it out there.
Dollar tacos.
We're right next to it. Personally, I can't eat them because I get heartburn. So, Adam, feel free, man.
All day.
To munch out on that. But anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about the last UFC. It was on Fox Sports. It was from Mexico. We're talking a little bit before we went on the air. We'll talk about that. But, as we were here talking before we went on air, we're talking about the new Gladiator MMA at the LA Coliseum.
Yes, sir.
So, real quick, Donald, tell us a little bit about. I saw the pictures. I saw the way the cage was kind of set up, where you could actually see the big pillars and stuff behind it. So, tell us a little bit about that.
It was a unique event. I was kind of wondering on my way there how they're going to do this. How are you going to fill the Coliseum? But they had structured it in such a way. It was in front of the entrance where you see the sign where the Olympic symbol is and the actual logo for the LA Coliseum, and set up a cage, had little food trucks. So it was a unique little thing, but I think they're onto something because it was fun.
How was the crowd? I mean, did you get
Crowd was fun, dude. It was the LA crowd, It's like versus seeing an Angel game and a Dodger game, you know what I mean? Everybody's into it, ready to throw.
See, this is the thing, and I think Adam and Miguel can kind of verify this. When you live in LA or California or whatever, there's so much to do,
That's right.
On a Saturday night, there's basketball, there's football when it's in season, hockey and football in the same season. So it's a lot more difficult. Would you agree to do specific shows in the LA area only because there's so much going on? So you got to put you've done many a show. You got to put a lot of work into it to get it out there. So it's good to hear that they actually had a crowd. Now, we talked about parking. You were actually able to park in the venue because you go to a USC game or something like that. You're parking in the street. People actually. Like in their driveways and stuff, you can park in their driveways, but no problem, Miguel?
No problem, man. You got to pull right in, drop a couple bucks.
Now, we're Mexican. We invented carpooling. So did you guys take the truck and fit everybody
There's nobody
up
in the
front?
trunk that day.
Yeah, no. Fortunately, we had his producer, Robert Shaggin' Wagon, and we all just piled on in there. And
there's a good picture of the venue right there, LA Coliseum.
Yeah,
you can see the structure set up, the
that's
cage
what I'm
there.
talking about. Now, that's a nice setup.
Man, and all lit up like that?
Yeah.
Man, what a great place for amateurs, too.
Yeah.
What a
They
cool
lucked
venue.
out.
every single fight was killer.
Yeah.
Every single fight was
So
awesome.
it was exciting.
Was it a mixture of amateur and professional, or was it just all amateur?
No, it was all amateur.
It was camo, yeah.
It was camo amateur, yeah.
And there was something else in the beginning. The youngsters were coming up,
these
too.
were kids, yeah.
Well,
Other than the kids. But,
Yeah. We didn't really want
see. We get a lot of this on not so much on this show, but on my Wednesday show about amateurs because they're like, hey, they have to have so many fights before they can turn pro, and they're taking the same amount of punishment, and they're using 4-ounce gloves and everything like that. But they're still getting the exposure. They're getting out there, and so give us your thoughts on that.
Well,
do you have a problem with the amateurs? You think they should? Only because now it's required, right? You have to have a certain amount of amateur fights before you can go professional, correct?
I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, the level is high. The level is high. It's not like it was a couple years ago.
Right,
You need to compete, 10 to 15 times as an amateur. In my opinion, 10 to 15 times as an amateur if you're looking at making a career out of fighting. I mean, it's just that's just what it is.
Well, like King of the Cage, for example, they got the contract with MAV TV. So even if you're fighting amateur, you're going to get that exposure because it comes out every Monday. Like Miguel, his fight came on Monday, and then the following Monday they replayed it, so he got some massive exposure. I mean, he's got a fan following like you wouldn't believe now. I mean, I got to tell you, man.
Guadalajara.
That's what I'm talking about.
fan following is fan following.
But
cartel.
But honestly, just speaking from that, it was great. You got a lot of exposure just from the MAV TV, correct?
Yeah, it was
I
cool.
remember I shot you a text or something to say, hey man, your show's coming on or whatever.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. So
that was pretty cool. Yeah.
So even though you're fighting amateur or whatever, at least you're getting the exposure, you're getting the experience, so they're not just throwing you into the deep end.
Yeah.
You know, which is really good. So real quick for the people listeners, Adam Lynn sitting over here to my left. We're going to talk some jiu-jitsu. We're going to talk some MMA. We're going to talk some fighters leaving different camps and things of that nature. But if you want to check out Adam Lynn, he's at Subfighter MMA.
Yep.
It's at 23272 Vista Grande in Laguna Hills, California. If you want some more information, want to come down, check out some classes or whatever, you can dial 949-510-2093. Luckily, I wrote that big enough so I didn't have to put my glasses on.
Come check us out.
Yeah, so you can come check it out. And now, will you give them a first, I don't want to say first lesson free, but come in and if they want to roll or whatever, they can come and check it out?
You get a whole week for free.
Oh, so how can you beat that, man?
You can't beat that.
A whole week for
That's
free.
not
That's a
messing
deal.
around.
Yeah.
And Adam, you actually roll with your students, right?
Every day.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I just want to make sure because I've been
No,
to
that's
local
the-
dojos where they're just kind of dictating and
That's
stuff.
the best part about having a gym.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you have a gym. You want to train.
We talk about that a lot on both the shows, especially for fighters that are off, for lack of a better term. They're off. They're not training actually for a fight or whatever. Or guys like you, you're constantly in the gym. You're constantly rolling, so you keep that timing. You keep everything fresh. And like a lot of people say, you're always learning.
Yeah.
Because even if you're rolling with the white belt or something, you see something and you have to counter it.
It's hard. It's hard to teach. It's hard to teach any of that stuff if you're not doing it. It's hard to, maybe I'm dealing with an injury or something. I'm sitting on the sidelines and then for a week or two. But if I'm not rolling, if I'm not sparring, if I'm not hitting the bags, like it's hard to transfer that information to my fighters. You know?
And if when you're injured and you're on the sidelines, I know you sit there and go, man, I just want to get in there, man. I want to show them, but you got to kind of hold yourself back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, well, it's awesome, man. I mean, that's why we do this here, because we love the sport. We love jiu-jitsu, MMA, and for us here, that's why I don't want to speak for Miguel and Dondo, but that's my main goal, is because it's such a good sport. I don't think it gets the exposure and the like you see football, the football programs and stuff like that, and they got the suits and the ties and all
You're
that
right,
stuff.
but it's getting there. It's definitely growing by leaps and bounds every day.
Yeah, that's what we want to get it. That's why when we have the meetings for King of the Cage, you're like, hey, you guys got to wear the suit and tie when you're doing the announcing and stuff like that, because we got to add
legitimize.
a professionalism to the sport.
Certainly.
So, and like you said, I think we're getting
well,
there.
our guest here arrived an hour early. I mean, there's nothing more professional than that.
That's what I'm saying.
He's on top of things.
And Adam, I've been doing this for years. I mean, I'm close to 15 years, and there's only two people that have been on time. One was Rhonda, and the other one was you. I kid you not, man. And people are always late.
Rhonda in the Honda.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's good to have you here, man.
I'm a former Marine. I can't help it.
And it kind of shows the passion that Adam has. You know what I mean? It's
That's
still there.
a fact.
You never lose it. So definitely going to check it out. I'll make sure to give that address towards the end when we'll talk a little bit about being in the dojo and camps and training and going back and forth. But I got to tell you, man, I was telling the last show, I probably pay almost upwards to $200 of cable, because I gotta watch it. I gotta have all the channels. I gotta watch Access. Which is actually one of the
informed.
Which I saw one of your fights on, because I gotta keep up with everything. So we get the pay-per-view. Sometimes it's good. Like I got the Yoel Romero pay-per-view. Okay. Oh, it was just god awful, man. And then when Cormier and Jones fought, it was a lot better. And then you get your Fox Sports. The UFC on Fox. It's coming from Mexico. The big fight was Sergio Perez against Brandon Moreno, and I thought, man, this is going to be awesome. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they switched up the game plan or whatever. I thought it was horrible as far as the game plan from Moreno. I thought Sergio, other than the first round, I thought Sergio Perez won every round after that. So real quick, give us your thoughts on that. I mean, it seemed like it was a different Brandon Moreno. Usually that guy comes straight ahead. He's throwing
He
punches.
was tentative, yeah. It was a different story, yeah.
So
I don't know if Sergio got in his head. I don't know where the intimidation came from, but he wasn't himself.
Well, Adam, you think that was like a big step up for Brandon, and he kind of said, well, I don't want to go crazy. This guy's a little bit better, and changed it up? Or what do you think?
I can tell you, just in my opinion from experience, if you give a guy like Sergio Pettis, you give him confidence, and you give him confidence early in the fight, it's hard to catch up.
Yeah.
It's hard to catch up. And Moran had a good first round, but when you start to, Pettis takes away the kicks and takes away the takedowns from him, and then he starts to build and he starts to balloon up, and that's hard to knock him down.
I got to be honest, man. I thought, Sergio Pettis is a good fighter, but I didn't think he was up that level yet to fight a main event. But when he fought, I mean, you got Duke Rufus.
Duke Rufus.
Duke Rufus as a trainer.
striking coach,
And
yeah.
you can kind of tell, man, he looked like a different Sergio Pettis. His hands were up, he was moving,
Yeah.
he was missing punches, he was,
Yeah.
coming up and over, and I thought he did really well. Fully well-deserved victory for Sergio Pettis. So what do you think he goes from here? That's a 145 pound division, which is loaded.
Is that 45 or 20? Where's he at?
No, was it 25?
Where's
He's
Sergio?
a
Robert,
lower
help us out. Miguel?
I believe it was 25.
25.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
25.
because his brother's in the.
You're right.
The
You're
higher
right.
weights,
I'm
you
thinking
get-
the other Pettis, but
Yeah.
I think I weighed 125 when I was like 8.
6?
Maybe. Yeah, 6 or 8, something like that. How you get down to 125, I'll
Yeah.
never know. But that
lucky.
division
Yeah.
still, now that's Demetrius Johnson.
Well, I mean, I think you match him up with Cejudo because he was supposed
Yeah.
to Cejudo fight
Right.
a couple
Cejudo,
months
yeah.
ago, and then somebody got hurt, right?
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's gonna be a different look for him, man. A wrestler, Olympic caliber wrestler that's gonna be throwing hands and shooting in and stuff like that.
That's
I think
right.
I think that'll be well.
It's a good matchup.
Whoever
Yeah.
wins that fight definitely would win. Would not win, but get a chance at
Demetrius.
But Demetrius has to get through Ray Borg first, who's just I don't want to say strictly wrestling because nobody's actually strictly
Right,
wrestling,
right.
but coming from a wrestling background.
Yeah, that's his
And-
discipline.
Yeah, and people say he's a boring fighter, but that's just especially when you're going to fight somebody like Demetrius. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I'm going to say he's going to do everything right, but Demetrius is still going to be too much for him because I don't really see anybody beating him not right this.
How do you
Right,
stop
right.
that energy and that footwork?
Exactly, I mean-
it's a lot of footwork.
Do you
Yeah.
think that's the formula though? Of some of the
mean-
wrestler that can kind of trying to get him to the ground?
You almost can't be as exciting as Demetrius. You got to slow him down. You got to grind him out. And I think with Demetrius, really the one who beats him is him.
Yeah.
He gets distracted. He gets burned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who knows? But I mean, he's light years above his competition.
Certainly.
And do you think that's what happens? I mean, you get to a specific level or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's just like, well, is it kind of hard, do you think, for him to be motivated,
Well, I mean, that's everything. You got to stay motivated. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're at the top for that long.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the boss is dogging you too. It's
Yeah.
You know,
He doesn't necessarily get the respect that another
Right.
champion would have got
I,
because
you
of
know,
his size.
I gotta agree.
And the
with
weight
that.
class.
And
You don't
yeah.
get the viewers at that weight class, even though you get a technical schooling every time you watch him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You go back to boxing school with him.
But I mean, you think Dana needs to kind of dial it back a little bit? Because look at Tyrone Woodley. He got him mad, Demetrius and stuff like that. Do you think he's got to kind of, or do you think it's a matter of like the inmates running the asylum? He doesn't want them getting too cocky.
I mean, obviously, I think there's a level of professionalism that
Yeah.
he could be a little more professional. But you're at that level. You're a champion. Belief is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And if the boss of the company is like I said, he's dogging you on
Yeah.
social media and stuff. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I don't get that, man. I mean, that's but Dana's Dana. You know what I mean? I think maybe when you get to a certain level,
Yeah.
like a Vince McMahon who runs the WWE, like you're untouchable. You make so much money and everything like that. Who are you to tell me? I run this place or
Yeah.
whatever. So.
No, but you make an interesting point, Adam.
Yeah.
The psychological part. We know that everybody's training hard for that next fight. I mean, everybody's constantly training because we love it, because it's fun. You may have a tough opponent, lined up next, but the psychological part, you got to believe it.
Yeah.
You don't believe it, doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
well,
They're going to destroy you.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. He's division's still pretty tough. For somebody Demetrius to hold down that division like he does says a lot for him.
Yeah.
So the semi-main was, we talk a lot about this too, about how the women always deliver. And we talked about that when we were talking about Brandon Moreno. It seemed like he said, well, this guy, he's probably going to come with a good stand-up game. So I'm going to kind of change it up a little bit. The women, to me, don't think like that. I think they just go. They say,
Yeah.
I don't care if you've got jiu-jitsu,
I'll agree with
wrestling. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've trained many a woman.
I've trained some world class
Exactly. So
female competitors.
so when you're training somebody like that, do you kind of just let them go, or do you kind of say, well, look, this girl's got good jiu-jitsu, let's try to do this, or how does that work?
It's just an expectation of reality. Like I've had girls that were tip-top shape for a fight, and when you get in there, when you put them in a cage against another female, it's about, I am not going to lose to that girl across the cage.
Yeah.
Where men, sometimes they get in their head, they don't want to lose, they fight kind of cautious. Females, in my experience, every once in a while, but females get in there and get after it.
Yeah, they do. It seems like they don't have a filter. That's it. I'm going. But, Randa Marcos fought Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso came, was she 3-4 pounds over or whatever? She said
a little bit
she
over,
had
yeah.
some sort of infection. She couldn't help it, whatever. Randa Marcos was like, I don't care, let's fight.
Yeah,
She's
it's the right way to
hungry
be.
at this point. And it was, to me, it looked like a different Randa Marco, she's usually trying to, close the distance, get him down to the ground. But this fight, she looked like she wanted to trade some hands.
Yeah, it went back and forth quite a bit.
Now, to trade with Alexa Grasso, I don't know what good of... But you can kind of tell as the fight wore on, she started to feel some punches. She decided to take her down. Now, this is just my opinion. To me, if I'm a judge, she's constantly going after her. She's throwing punches. She's going for the takedown. She's getting the takedown. Although she didn't do that much when she got the takedown, I personally just thought from the aggression alone, pushing the fight, trying to get a finish, I thought she won the fight. She might have lost one round, but I thought she won the fight. They said Alexa Grasso kept moving. She kept throwing punches. That's why she won the fight. Give us your thoughts on that fight.
First of all, that was the first time I've got to see Alexa Grasso fight. I've heard about this girl, and I'm a big fan of her now. I like the way that she fights. And I would say, like Randa Marcos, again, I look at things from the way fighters think, and she knew she was being brought in there to fight the Mexican girl in Mexico City, and she's kind of uphill battle. I thought she did a great job. Yeah, at the end of the fight, could have gone either way, and I think they gave it to Alexa because it was in Mexico City, and because they're trying to build her a little bit more. I think
you're right.
That's just my opinion, but I was super impressed with Alexa Grasso.
Yeah.
That's rough, man. That's rough because it's hard for me to take a victory away from somebody because of something like that, but...
You never know. You leave it to the judges, and that's what's going to happen.
On the other hand, you got to do really super well or finish them to get that, to get that W or whatever. So I think Randa Marcos will be back. She seems pretty tough. Alexa Grasso's on a roll. Maybe if she does get everything together weight wise and gets all her stuff taken care of,
important, right?
She's going to be a major player. So at least.
We forget about the elevation. We talked about it earlier, but you're fighting a few miles above your normal.
We were talking about that before we went on air. I mean,
there's very little air up there.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. So if let's say one of your fighters is going to go to Mexico and they're going to fight, would you take them up there at least a few weeks early, get them out?
Well, I mean, at that level, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So like at least 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Fight camp.
I mean,
at
least
Big Bear.
Rashad was down there for a month.
Yeah,
and you need to. It kind of showed wear and tear on him too.
Yeah. It was amazing. Go ahead, Robert.
We got some people in the chat room. Anthony Renteria says TJ Cruz or Garbrandt. He also says DJ's unstoppable. I think the only person that has a chance is anyone at 135.
What was that about Garbrandt?
Can he beat TJ?
Oh, okay.
It's going to be 135.
Right on. Thank you, Tony Renteria.
To come down to 125 or come up to 135?
Somebody in 135. Yeah.
Oh, because if Demetrius comes up to 135, I think it's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
he fought Dominic,
speed,
fought Dominic Cruz at 135, right?
He did lost.
Yeah, so I mean, no, I'm not saying he's going to lose. I just think it'd be a different.
It's a different animal.
Animal from which is probably what's going to be next if he beats whoever, Cejudo or Pettis or whatever. That's probably a next step to fight one.
Sure,
dude. I think Garbrandt and Demetrius would sell out big time, man. I think that would be slamming.
That's a cool matchup.
Yeah,
an interesting matchup.
That I agree 100%. I think that would be slamming. So, anyways, it's good, that the girls are in the semi-main event and they're really, giving them that push or whatever. I think it's really good for them. Now, we're talking a little bit about this before we went on the air about Alan Joban and Nick Price. Nick Price, I'd seen fight a couple of times. You could tell he's got hands. To me, this is a kid that's pretty fearless. I could just kind of see it in him. Alan Joban, coming from Black House, he's working with Kenny Johnson on his wrestling. He's got good stand-up, but working with Kenny Johnson with his wrestling and stuff like that, I thought he could have maybe slowed him down with some punches and then maybe, took him down or whatever. But they started swinging. He went for the kick, and Nick Price just went right over the top and bam, one punch, and it was over. So I think this kid, Nick Price, is going to be a player. What do you think?
I haven't heard too much about him. Like I said, I haven't seen the fight.
Really, nobody has, to be honest.
Yeah. Who's he training with?
Who's he training with, Nick Price?
Producer. There's a computer in front of you there, Miguel.
Hook it up. Let's see. I think it might be.
My bad. I'm a little slow today.
That's
sorry.
okay.
It might be from the East Coast or whatever. But regardless, a victory over Alan Joban is gonna put you up there, man.
Yeah,
that's huge for him. So
Nick defeated Joban TKO.
And
punches round one.
To me, very little punishment. When you take very little punishment like that and you're ready to go. So let's say a fight like that. He wins first round, bam, takes him out, minute 47 of the first round. Do you take a week off and get right back into the gym, or for your fighters, what would you do?
I think everybody's got
yourself.
Everybody has their training cycle is like a circle, right?
Yeah.
I think some people's circle is a little bit smaller, some people's circle is a little bit bigger. I've done that. I've won quick knockout and then wanted to get right back to training on Monday, and little kind of injuries kind of slow you down.
Right.
I wasn't injured going to the fight. I wasn't injured in the fight. But when I start training again, you want to kick it into high gear, your body's like, nope, You know, sit down for a while.
Rest
Yeah,
up.
it'll tell you.
And does that happen as you start to age? Or?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, because I need a lot of rest. Man.
Yeah.
So, Robert, do we
got
get
some
that?
Nick Price info. Nick, the hybrid Price coming out of Cape Coral,
Yeah,
American top team in Florida.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's ATT.
Yeah, it's ATT
11-0,
team Cape Coral.
Yeah, I think that dude. Well, when he fought Brendan Thatch, I saw that fight, and he looked really good in that fight. So I think he's going to be a player. So hey, props to him, man. A knockout over Alan Jabon is huge. Got in trouble for cursing a little bit. Got to cut that back, especially when you're on Fox Sports.
Yeah.
If you're on Channel 11, the regular Fox Sports, you're going to be in big trouble.
That's
Miguel,
right.
would you agree?
Yeah.
That's the wrong guy to ask, but yeah, you say so.
I curse like a sailor.
That's what
Even
I'm
worse
saying.
than that.
A drunken sailor.
But you can hold it back when you have to. Man. I mean, the excitement gets there, but
I can do my best, man.
I know you can hold it back. Now, the fight that I was looking forward to, and I got to be honest, man, I'm a big Sam Alvey fan because dude's always been cool with me.
Smiling Sam.
Coming out of Temecula, training with a team
think
like
he's cool.
Team Quest,
Yeah.
and fighting Rashad, and they say, oh, well, Rashad's, he's been up there for a month, and he's training. And I thought, well, at 185, he's not going to want to punch with Sam Alvey because that dude's got power. He doesn't look like much, but if he hits you with that power, that's it.
Yeah.
So it looked like he kind of felt the power and then kind of backed off. Rashad kind of backed off after that. And
Yeah, he
tried to
took
go,
his foot off the pedal for sure.
Big time.
But I think that's Rashad. I think that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
He takes that heavy punch, and then he's playing a different game.
Exactly.
The game plan's out the window. He went in there with one
Yeah.
thought, and now
I-
he's
you know,
doing the other game.
Yeah.
I don't know because it's
Playing
kind
B's now in place.
yeah, it's kind of hard to judge Sam Alvey, but it looked in the second round like he was just gassed.
He comes from a good camp. They fight hard, but
Yeah.
again, we're in Mexico City, 3 miles up.
Yeah,
he
so
was
I don't-
gassed.
well,
I'm going to confirm
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be?
He's going to come on my Wednesday show, but unfortunately not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. So I might ask him, hey, you look like you were tired. Did you, and he'll probably go, that's my game plan and stuff like that. But he got the win, which, he that's kind of the way his fights are. They're pretty close. I think guys kind of know. He's kind of like, what's his name that beat, well, he looked like he beat George St. Pierre, but they gave it to St. Pierre.
Hendricks.
Johnny
Yep,
Hendricks.
Johnny
Remember
Hendricks.
when he was hitting people, they were going out.
Yeah.
I mean, just smooth out.
Yeah, his game's changed since then, but yes, absolutely.
I
At that
think-
time, he was on fire.
Exactly, and I think Sam Alvey has that same reputation about him.
Sure.
So people kind of back off or whatever. So he gets the win. He gets a split decision. I thought it was right. I thought he was pushing the fight, and trying to get that W. But after a couple days, gets back home, gets relaxed and stuff. He says he wants to avenge a lot of Dan Henderson's fights. He wants to fight Vitor Belfort. Called him out. Said, let's
It's a big
do it.
fight for him.
Yeah, and Vitor was like, listen, dude, let's do it in Vegas.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
put the date or whatever. Now,
I don't know how much left that Vitor has in him, but
I mean,
it's an interesting
People still want to
thing.
watch him fight.
Yeah,
though.
that's what I'm
yeah.
talking about. That's a whole different ball game. And we say this quite often. Sometimes Vitor comes out, he looks like a world beater. I
Yeah.
mean, he just comes out,
Yep.
does damage. Even when he fought John Jones, man, he gave him a hell of
Yeah,
a
right.
fight. And then sometimes he comes out and it just doesn't look like the same Vitor. So if the Vitor that's coming to fight shows up against Sam Alvey, I think that's going to make Sam Alvey really do some training, out there in Temecula with Team Quest with all those
Right.
heavy players
Yeah.
out there.
Don't take it for granted. Not that he's an old man or anything. You know what I
That
mean?
would be
Be
a
ready.
good fight. I think they should go ahead and book that. What do you think?
Yeah, he's active. What do they say? 7 times? He's fought 7 times the last 14 months?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was the first Alvey fight that I've seen. I don't know if he's pedigreed, wrestled in college. I don't know anything about him, but I would say he fought. I was impressed with. He looks like a guy that has always trained with tough guys, and he's
Right.
used to athletic guys
Yeah.
coming at him, dragging him off the cage, and he's just developed a style
Right.
that, he stood in nothing dynamic. He just stood in the middle of the cage,
Yeah.
right, exchanged with him, and defended his takedowns. And what I saw Rashad break on maybe the first or second takedown attempt where he couldn't get him down. He kept underhooking him with the left arm, and you could see Rashad's face when he came out of that clinch. Like,
questions.
"Ah, shit."
I think Sam Alvey, especially training over there, has the wrestling. He's got the good techniques, but
You got a
kinda
heavy
like-
wrestler in charge,
yeah,
absolutely.
Kind of like Chuck Liddell. When he had it, but he never had to use it, but it was there if he needed it.
Right.
So I think that'll be a good fight. So this is what we do here on this show, real quick. Do a quick public service announcement. Dana White's unanimous. Let's go ahead and book that fight. All right. Next, Madison Square Garden, UFC, whatever. Let's do it. We're unanimous here. Go ahead and book that fight, all right?
I love that.
Sean Shelby, whatever. We got your job here. Don't even. We got you down. So in the next meeting, let's book that.
That's
so
a good
we just
one.
kind of help them out here. Anyways, real quick for the people watching and listening to us, you're here. You're at Full Contact Fanatics. Got my man Dondo over here on my right, and of course our special guest today, Adam Lynn, coming from that Sub Fighter MMA. Miguel over there in the producer spot, and of course Robert over there working the controls and making sure we get in and out. So don't forget, if you want to check out Sub Fighter MMA, you can check it out. It's at 23272 Vista Grande in Laguna Hills, California. If you want to come down, check it out, take some classes and stuff. It's 949 510-2093. Like you said, you can come train for the week and check it out. If you like it, hey man,
why
you
not?
can sign up and keep going. If not, no questions asked.
Very cool.
But I don't really think anybody's ever went and took a couple of classes and said, this isn't for me. I've seen a couple of bodybuilders go to De La O's thinking, they're pretty good, and then the next thing I knew, they leave and they never come back. I mean, I've seen that a couple of times. But if you're truly interested in, well, this is what De La O did to me. We're going back years ago when he had the place on Lincoln.
Yeah, okay.
He says, "Oh yeah, you got to come down, man." I was like, "Okay," and I had a wrestling background. He says, "I'm gonna put you with this girl," and I said, "Is he nuts? What's wrong with him?"
I had that same experience.
I gotta take it easy, man. I better be careful. Blah blah. Got down, choked me out within less than a minute. Gi choke.
We've all seen Bully beat down. We know what happened.
And then you get that thing. What the hell? No, something's wrong. I wasn't ready.
Here's my $100.
Choked me out again.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit. And I was going to leave. I said, I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I said, oh my. And Dello comes to me. He says, well, look, I just did that to show you that no matter what the size or the gender, if you have the right technique, that's what's going to happen.
That's jiu-jitsu.
And then, of course, I was hooked ever since. But, I mean, that was an eye-opener for me. So if you want to come down, check out Sub Fighter MMA. Come see Adam Lynn. He's a cool guy, man. I've known him for quite some time. I've had him on my Wednesday show a few times.
Love it.
Even when he was fighting out there, and had him on because he's the
back
type.
in the day, it was like Tachi Palace.
Yeah, he's the type of
Got a
fighter
lot of
that
fights
that's,
under him.
that's what I'm talking
There's some
about.
road
When you go
miles
to
around
fight,
Adam
you talk
Lynn.
about experience and amateurs not getting paid and stuff like that. Adam was the type that didn't care. Let's just fight. You know what I mean?
We weren't even allowed to wrap our hands.
That's what I'm
my
saying.
first fight, King of the Cage, we weren't allowed to wrap our hands. We had gel-packed gloves.
That
couldn't
is
wrap your hands.
awesome.
It's heavy.
Go ahead, Robert.
So Brian wants to know if it was Christina that.
He had to call me out on that. It was exactly Christina, and we've been friends ever since. I've been a fan ever. As a matter of fact, on my birthday, she sent me a message, and I said, "Man, I miss those days when we all used to train and stuff like that." And not that I miss getting choked out, but I just miss those days when we're training.
It happened to me too. They Full Contact Friday. They said, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm like, okay, I don't know too much about striking. It was like second week or something. I said, okay, well, no punching, just kicks. I'm like, dude, I don't throw kicks. So they said, well, just go with Vivium. Just go with Vivium. And all of a sudden, Vivium just went off and started just kicking me everywhere. And I was like, this is not good.
It happens, man.
Where do I sign up?
That's right.
Hey, but it was an eye opener. It's good though. It's good.
It was an eye closer at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Kick you in the face.
Yeah, but it's
Get a toenail in the pupil.
Yeah, it's too and grown a lot from there. So, John Dello, if you're listening, I know you're probably teaching class right now. We appreciate it, man. Appreciate humbling me that time back then. So, but it's grown ever since then because let me tell you something. When we're training at that dojo on Lincoln, I mean, there was
Back
butts.
with Abe
There was
Lincoln.
butts and faces. You move 1 centimeter to your left, and somebody's butt was right in your face.
That's how you do it, man.
And then we moved on.
That's where you get your ninja skills.
Exactly,
Because
man.
when
Well,
the
that's how
class
you
is
get
packed,
your.
You have to have situational awareness.
That's how you get
or you're
your
going to get
escape.
hurt.
Proprioception,
That's how you become a ninja.
Yeah.
Hey, but Adam, as you can attest to, man, a lot of people think, oh, it's easy to open a dojo. You just have a building, you throw some mats out, and you're good to go. But
Not the
takes,
case.
It takes so much more than that. Just like with insurance and then your kids' classes. And, if you're just like today, you're here with us, somebody to cover for you and stuff like that. So, well, give us your experience.
It really,
what it takes to open up a dojo.
It really depends on the demographic and the clientele that you want.
Yeah.
You're
in a nice spot. Laguna Hills, that's a nice area.
Yeah, we've been there for 10 years. This is my 10-year
Got a
anniversary
nice
party.
high school to pull wrestlers from, that's for sure.
You see?
Yeah.
And it's good because it kind of gives them some place to go in that off season.
Mm-hmm.
When I was coaching at Milliken, when we would use the weight room, they would say, "Oh, you have to use machines because the free weights are only for the football players." And I was like, so then I can't remember. Somebody opened close to them. I think it might have been Harold Lucambio, and they were all going over there, so they had a place to train and work out in the off season. So works out great for them, man. It's awesome. Anyways, real quick for the people listeners, you're here, you have Full Contact Fun-Addicts. Make sure you check us out 8 to 9 on Monday nights, and then the Sunday show with Dondo and Miguel.
That's right.
It's the same full
Gym Crashers. We're going to come to your dojo and train with you.
That's what we're talking. Well, maybe
put it on film.
Maybe next time we have Adam back, we can actually go over to the little cage.
Yeah,
and
you're going to volunteer with that. You're going to roll with Adam, all right? I'll get the camera.
No, Christina, you can come show us your skills on that one.
Control. I don't know.
Well, dude, you choked me. I was not saying much. I mean, I was gassed coming up the steps to get into the building.
At least you're an honest man. I was gassed out too.
Yeah,
must be the elevation up here on the second floor.
That's what I'm talking about. So, well, all in all, I thought the UFC on Fox, it went well. I think it could have went a little bit better. I think a lot of people need to understand that they got to get a little more acclimated to that elevation before they get out there. Because I saw a lot of people getting tired.
They fight in Denver. They fight in Mexico City. There's other places like that, right?
Yeah, big time.
I think there's a couple in Brazil that are pretty high altitude as well.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So something to watch out for when you're
It just always seems Mexico City is the killer.
Well, yeah, because you're breathing in a cigarette's worth of, carcinogens every time you breathe. So it's a tough one.
Hey, well, maybe, you can train over there and you come over here, you'd be a world beater, man, because you have so much.
That might be the case.
That's the reason why a lot of people go to Big Bear.
That's right.
To go train out in that elevation and stuff like that. So
that's a fact.
You
not quite that high, but still something to get used to.
In this day and age, Adam, I think you can agree, things like that you need to take into consideration. Training at elevation, staying with, especially for the young fighters, staying within your weight, because a lot of people are getting good fights with 2 weeks' notice. Yeah. If you're in shape, you're a good fighter, they're going to come and find you. I mean, even at King of the Cage, they've brought up people with a week's notice and sometimes even get a title shot just because they're ready to go. So, like your fighters do, is there some that you actually in the gym that you say, hey, look, man, I need you to stay at this amount of weight or whatever, because you never know, when they're going to get the call?
What I like to tell my fighters is, like, how much money do you want to make? If you want to train like a $500 fighter, then you can make $500.
Right.
But if the goal is you want to be making $50,000, $60,000 a fight, you need to be prepared. You need to be professional. So, yeah, if you're fighting at the UFC level, you need to do things like Big Bear. You need to do things like Denver. You need to do things like Albuquerque. You need to do that because you're professional. You're a professional athlete at that level.
Would you say, Las Vegas is far and away the mecca of fighting. That's where everybody goes. Albuquerque would be a close second, because everybody, when people leave.
That's where the camps are, right?
Yeah, when people leave BMF where they live to move over there or whatever, that's huge. But other than that, we have out here in LA, a lot of dojos, but like I said, there's so much to do out here. A lot of the Midwest, when I go out there with King of the Cage, they're really starting to pick up the pace. And even Memphis, Tennessee. I was talking about that last week. Pauline Peter Macias, who was training with Ronda out in Glendale, she had a fight out there. They liked her so much, they told her, look, if you move out here, we'll get you an apartment, we'll pay for you to train here. And she ended up moving out there. So it is, we were talking about that earlier. Growing,
it's a great thing,
leaps and bounds. So it's great, man. I think, of course, Vegas, New Mexico, those are the two. But everybody else is really starting to come to the forefront as far as mixed martial arts and good dojos, good places to train.
Even the type of fighter has changed. So, we went from big sluggers and then real technical jiu-jitsu guys, but now we got some athletes.
Right. Yeah.
It's changing the game.
So,
you know what I mean? It's pushing it up a notch.
So looking at the UFC, I went on the website to see what's coming up. I didn't really see much. The only thing that I see that they've signed is Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's going to fight Namajunas. What's her first name? Liz Namajunas?
Rose
Namajunas.
Yeah.
So, which I've seen her fight a few times. I think she's a good fighter, but I really talk about a big step up.
Well, yeah.
That's a
Joanna's
huge,
in a realm of her own.
A huge step up. Yeah. Now, do you see from a stand-up game, I don't really see anybody on her level. Namajunas is pretty well-rounded. I mean, she gets you on the ground. She's got the skills on the ground, but I go back to The Ultimate Fighter when Joanna had her team.
They were all on there, yeah.
Yeah, and she says, I don't understand you guys. She goes, when I was little, my parents owned a store, and they wanted me to say, go do your homework. Or she said, no, I want to work at the store. I want to raise enough money to go to Thailand to train Muay Thai. Yeah. So a Polish girl who doesn't even speak English, let alone Thai, went to, and she said, I've been 6 times. That's how bad I wanted to learn Muay Thai. Now, you go to Thai, that's on a different level. Yeah. Something we're talking about. You said you want to be a $60,000, $70,000 a year fighter. That's what she is. Yeah. Now, you can never take anything away from her. So, things happen. She can get her to the ground. She could submit her.
It's a possibility,
I don't see it. What do you? Well, first of all, we'll go to Donda. What do you think?
Well, that has to be the game plan. You can't stand and bang with someone with laser precision. Right? She can strike with the best of them, maybe better than most of the guys. She's got some gnarly striking.
Yes.
So, take her to the ground.
Just
maybe beat her at footwork.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to match her up with DJ.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be kind of cool, yeah.
Oh, dude. Miguel, what do you think? You want to make that unanimous, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Namajunas versus Jędrzejczyk.
Oh, man, I'm going to have to go with the Polish gal.
Johanna?
Yeah.
I think Vegas will go with that as well.
I think so.
The odds are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just at this moment I don't really see anybody that's on her level. I think it's gonna be a good fight though. I think she's gonna come and maybe push her a little bit, but I think in the end she's gonna come out the victor. So definitely look forward to that.
It's still a battle we need to see. You know.
Yeah, real quick
exciting.
Before we get on, we talked about this a couple times on this show in particular. We were saying that we think that an all women's UFC would definitely sell out. Well, I talked about at
An all-women's card.
an all-women's
right.
card, for the UFC.
Yeah.
I was talking about when Ronda was at her height. If they would have booked her against Cyborg for Dallas Stadium, I think it would have sold out.
Yeah,
man.
that'd be exciting.
Yeah. So Joanna, Amanda Nunes, and now Cyborg, and all that. I think an all-women's MMA card would do damage. I mean, I think it would really sell out. We'd have to do it. You think we'd have to do it in Vegas?
Oh, that'd be a great one. Why not?
MGM
Blow it
Grand?
up.
Okay.
Right? Do it during the fight week in July when everything's happening,
Oh,
right?
dude.
The question is, who do they give to Cyborg now?
Yeah, that's a hell of a
Yeah.
question.
Well, then we
Dude,
talked
that's all
about
we talked about last week.
we said when you're the champ, Geranda May, and they say, well, your next opponent's going to be, and you give up the belt.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's saying.
I would say I'm friends with Tanya. I'm good friends with Tanya. I would say maybe Holly, because Holly can fight backwards.
Yeah.
And Holly can fight backwards for 5 rounds.
Sure.
Maybe she lasts 5 rounds, maybe she clips her, maybe she doesn't. But I would say that she could maintain a game plan to go backwards for
A lot
5
of movement,
rounds.
that's for sure.
I
Yeah.
agree
Keeps her chasing her.
Yeah.
with you. I think
Just like
that
she
would
did
be a
with
hell of a
Ronda,
fight,
Yeah.
and I think
That's
it
a
would
good
sell
game
out.
plan.
So real quick, once again, public service announcement. Sean Shelby, you got
There you
to
go.
hear, buddy.
There you
All you
go.
got to do is watch this show, bro. You don't even have to do anything. Just watch this show. We will make the matches for you. All women's MMA card. Go ahead and save Namajunas and Joanna. Put them on the semi-main. Put Cyborg and Holly Holm in the main. Amanda Nunes, if she gets past the Russian chick, we could put her on there, and it'll sell out, dude. You want to go to a stadium? We could do that too. Dallas Stadium, we'll make it work for you, bro. Just give me a call, all right?
Yep.
That's just a little help for Sean Shelby. Make it easy on him. So
Good man.
I think it's great, but we're talking a little bit about that, talking about women's MMA. They've actually implemented the 125-pound Ultimate Fighter. I guess they're going to fight for the championship once they get to there. Now, they got a few people that have been around for a while. Roxanne Modafferi has been around for quite some time.
Forever.
Good ground skills. I think it's good for her to get to 125. I think that's going to help her a lot. Now, Lauren Murphy, who's also coming out of Arizona, I think she fights at the lab out there. She's going to be on there. Nico Montana, who I called one of her fights for King of the Cage, she comes out of Fit NHB in Albuquerque. I think she's going to do well. But I'm telling you right now, Christina Marks, she's there was a promotion called Submission Fighting Promotions. They did a show out there at the Citizens Bank Arena.
Ontario.
And she fought. I can't remember who she fought. God darn it! Gabe, I'm sorry, man. Gabriel Leon, who was a promoter. I forget. I saw her fight. She fought a girl that Josh Barnett was training, and she just did damage. And this girl, I've seen her train. She had a fight not too long ago. I can't remember who she destroyed. Sorry about that. Should have done my research, Robert. My bad. I didn't know we were gonna go this far into it. But I'm gonna tell you right now. That's gonna be my sleeper pick for the 125-pound Ultimate Fighter. Christina Marks. She's I think she's at the UFC gym in San Diego. So if you want to go check her out, she's one of those girls that does the sit-ups where you kind of put the heavy bag in your guard and you do the sit-ups from there or whatever.
Yeah,
and she's
cool.
just a machine, dude, just training, just going. And you could tell she's really hungry. So I think she's going to be the sleeper pick. I mean, you got girls like Lauren Murphy, Roxanne Modafferi, people who've been around and stuff like that's going to be tough. But I think, and I think it's, they're always talking about numbers, right, Robert? Yeah. About how they don't do good numbers and everything. I think, first of all, I think the one with Ronda and Misha was the best Ultimate Fighter ever because you got to see the true Ronda. You know what I mean? So I think this one's going to do just as well. The coaches are Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje for this
there
one.
you go.
I think they should have maybe went some female coaches on this one, but nonetheless, I think it's going to do well. Let's take it around the table. What do you think?
Yeah, it's worth watching. Absolutely. Let's see what's coming up.
Yeah,
it's a whole new.
I mean, that helped because Alvarez is going to fight Gaethje. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that helps the card, the
Yes.
final, the finale.
I'm sure that's their goal eventually, right?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But you think it's good that they implemented that 125-pound division
for
because
sure.
It's needed.
A jump from 115 to 135, that's a big jump.
Yeah, it's
you know what I
needed.
mean? And it seems like everybody just took the bait. They're like, oh, it's beautiful. And they all went for the 125.
Well, it changes things up, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep that mix going.
I think we're going to have a Demetrius Johnson on our hand, and Joanna's going to clean out the division, have to move up to 125, and maybe fight somebody.
Very likely.
I think she'll do it. Miguel, what do you think?
Sorry, we're sharing mics here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Say that question.
The
back one more time.
125-pound division, the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to make a champion out of that from the Ultimate Fighter. I'm taking Christina Marks as the sleeper. Okay, you think Joanna's going to clear out that 115-pound division and have to move over to 125?
She's
you know
already
what?
there.
I think so. Yes,
Yeah.
and like Dondo said, I think she's already there.
Yeah.
I mean, really, there hasn't been much competition for.
Yeah.
I know, man. But the only that Russian girl gave her a little bit of a fight, but still.
They put her on her back, and she's back up. So she's got really good ability to get back to her feet.
Yeah, it's awesome.
She can't stuff the shots, but she gets back to her feet. Uses the cage, peels them off.
Yeah.
Pops back up. You
Yeah,
know.
I agree. I think it's going to be awesome. But it just goes to show how the women's MMA is just really. Robert, what do you think?
Robert's a technical guy. I'm curious to hear what he's got to say.
No, I'm in agreement. I don't think there's anybody left at 115 for JJ. I think she, and it's not. I don't even think. I know she just wants to fight anybody and everybody.
Right.
She offered to fight who was it?
Oh, Amanda
Oh,
Nunez.
yeah.
Yeah,
When she
Shevchenko,
backed
right?
out.
She was like,
Shevchenko.
I'll fight her. It's like
And that's
3
not-
days
Yeah.
notice.
I was gonna say that was like on 3
Yeah.
days' notice or whatever. See, now that's a fighter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's a fighter who's like, hey, I'll take that fight or whatever. Just like Nate when he
She
fought
knows her job.
Conor. You know, he's like, hey, I'll take. And it says a lot for Conor too because Nate was saying, well, I can't get to 155. Let's make it 160. And Conor's like, so make it 170. I'm down. So you know, that's just people who want to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because we're talking about female MMA, and we talked about the Gladiator Championships series that we just went to, there was a female fighter on that card. I felt she looked amazing compared to everybody on the card.
That's the truth.
Her name was Jasmine Pouncey.
Uh-huh.
She
And she
looked
was
like Melvin
pounding her.
Manhoff. I mean, female
Wow.
version for a second. I mean, because this is the way she dressed too.
Yeah, yeah,
Is she
yeah.
from here?
Yeah, she's
She's
from
gotta be
here.
local LA
She's
girl, yeah.
local.
Let's get her on the show.
Yeah, I don't
Jasmine
know how old
Ponce,
she is.
if you're watching, come on down.
She,
Pouncy.
she had a quick overhand right. She set up to the body. Went over.
It looked like a mismatch. Just start off with that. I
Yeah.
think we had a 5'5" versus a 6'2".
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
that's what it looked like.
Right.
We're
Lot
talking
of
Gabby.
reach.
Wow.
Gabby,
The
what do you
girl's
call
a
it
Muay
here
Thai
or what?
fighter.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
That's awesome.
The thing that she did very well is she comboed and chained.
Yeah.
I mean, she threw punches.
And they
she
landed
went over the
hard.
She knew that exiting over that tall fighter might be a problem in the
Yeah.
counter. But what she did was she did kind of like how Machida goes through you and
Yes.
just takes you down just because. That's what she did. So she throws her overhand right, she clocks the girl, and then she just
Dumped her.
tap.
Yeah, it was a quick knee tap and dumped her.
See, and that's the thing. You know, people don't know about some of these people. That's what I'm talking about. Christina Marks, some sleepers that'll come up out of nowhere. You know,
That's where the sport is right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're a matchmaker or
Especially
whatever,
for girls, you
yeah,
know,
you
the
gotta
ladies
be going to every fight, every gym, and checking all these people out.
Yeah.
So hey, definitely
It's
look
still
forward
early.
to that. And real quick, don't forget you're here at Full Contact Fun-Addicts.
That's right.
With Dondo, got Miguel over there in the producer
Yo.
spot today, and of course Robert back there.
Don't forget
doing
our
all the
man, Adam
controls.
Lynn.
And our special guest
Sir.
sitting to my left, Adam Lynn, talking a little bit about fighting, women's MMA,
Yep.
stuff like that. I want to get to talking a little bit of jiu-jitsu and training and stuff like that.
In his
But
style.
real quick, my last one, Bibiano Fernandez is the one champion, which is that the Asian Chinese or whatever?
Yeah,
out
One
there?
fighting. One
They're
FC.
fighting-
One FC. Yeah,
They
it's
fight
out of
way
Singapore.
out.
It's out of Singapore.
Singapore, I think the Philippines too.
Right.
Well, it
Yeah.
incorporates all of Southeast Asia and
Yeah.
Pacific Rim.
Right, well,
But they're out of Singapore.
Well, just with him living out here and taking that long plane ride out there, I
Yeah.
mean that says a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
We're talking about elevations and stuff. But
Yep.
you know, he just had a fight. He's 37 years old,
Yep.
and he
Getting
fought a
there.
kid that was 27.
Yep.
He choked him out in the first round,
Wow.
a minute 47 of the first round. So, you know, you say, oh, well, he's getting old and stuff like that. But for a style like that, I would say like a Damian Maia, for the type of style, they don't take that much punishment.
It's true.
So I think he can, I think he can keep fighting, into his 40s, especially with that style of fighting.
Some dudes do it.
Yeah, well, like you said, with taking no damage, and if you can continue that track, and maybe not always Maya's always rear naked choking people.
Right,
Maybe I break something else out, working some arm bars or whatever, knee bars.
yeah.
But if I can take no
guessing.
damage, no problem.
Yeah.
Keep them guessing is what I
think
say.
that's why Bibiano is doing damage at 37. When you can choke out a 27-year-old who's a fighter fighting for the belt
Yeah.
in a minute and 47
So he's already
seconds.
proven himself. He's not a nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, and that kid, dude, it had to be probably 11 or 12 years ago. I see where I work at. I see this little guy come in, and I'm like, this guy looks like a fighter. You see the ears and stuff like that. And I'm like, why does this kid look familiar? I walk up and go, oh, yeah, I'm Bibiano Fernandez. I knew he looked familiar, so he's been around for a long time. He brought one of his students
It
or
takes
somebody.
road miles to get there, right? Nobody gets there right away.
Yeah. Barely spoke English. I was speaking to him in Spanish. I didn't know Portuguese. Yeah, I didn't know Brazilian spoke Portuguese. I don't know. I was new to it or whatever.
Sure.
But nice kid. And, he didn't go UFC or Bellator or anything. He went one championship. He said he thinks he's going to stay there. He re-upped his contract.
It's great.
You think that's good for him?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making
I
money,
mean, obviously, look where he's at.
yeah, he could take care of his family. He's doing well and stuff like that. I think
Sure.
now, because I was going to say 37, if they approached him, do you think that might have been a decision for him to go to Bellator or UFC to make more money, or he's content where he's at? You think he's cool with it?
I
Tough
think that's a
question.
personal
It'd be a tough
decision.
question,
Yeah.
I think at that age, 37, 38, I think motivation plays a big part.
Yeah.
And if you're in there and you're subbing guys right away, that's a lot of motivation to keep going. But if
Yeah.
I'm in there with some world beaters in the UFC or Bellator or something like that, and I'm taking a little bit of damage,
Yeah.
I might play in my passion a little
That's
bit.
right.
Yeah. Well, props to him, man. I mean, I saw that chokeout. It was awesome, man. I mean, the kid, he's 37 years old. He's a player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? One thing we ignore is there may be money at 1FC. We don't know if anybody
They
can
say
outbid
there
that.
is.
I'm
They
sure
say
there
You know what I
is.
mean?
I'm
There's
sure
got to
there
be
is,
real money
you know?
coming
Well,
out of
there's so
Singapore.
many people out there. Yeah,
The
they
lifestyle
go to
that you
see
have
fights.
when you live there, just so you know, it's one of those countries that are economically superior. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The standard of living is above what we know.
Right. So hey, man.
So it could be a good thing that he's already operating. in,
Maybe
and he's winning.
Maybe he's got something there. So
Yep.
hey, Bibiano, props to you. Get over here, dude. Let's get you on this seat so we can ask you in person about your
like
Well,
that.
I'm not gonna ask him about
I like
his
your
paycheck.
style.
I'm just gonna ask
Shout-outs.
him, how it is to be over there. Go ahead, Robert.
That's right.
Angela Lee as well.
Yeah.
She's over there too.
Oh, is that right?
One, yeah.
Well, maybe there is something to that one. Now, where can you watch the one? Is it
That's
like
Askren's over there too, yeah.
a pay per view?
Yeah, they
Askren
do
is there,
pay-per-view.
too.
Oh wow.
But then again, Ben Asker's Ben Askren. He's just
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
and Dana's got that
Yeah.
little jab
Yeah.
back and forth. Dana thinks that Askren doesn't really want to come to UFC. He's just making noise to keep himself,
Yep.
in the spotlight. But I mean, if he wanted to, it's there. But Ben is just always like,
So
"Give me-
is
give
that
me
an online pay per view or?
Yeah, I'm gonna honestly say that if I do catch it, I somehow get it for free.
Well, we just might have to come down here and check out one of
Oh, we
those
watch
fights.
fights here. Come on in. We watch fights all the
It's
time.
not here.
Oh, somewhere nearby.
It's another place.
Somewhere nearby.
Yes.
Somewhere nearby.
So we will pack into the van like we usually
Yes.
do,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The
roll
mystery
out there
machine.
and go check it out. Sounds good to me.
South Central and catch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
definitely gonna
Miguel's neighborhood.
But never here. Never here.
Right on
definitely
Gage.
gonna have to check that out because with him winning, it's starting to spark some interest and people are really gonna start to check it out. So we definitely look forward to that. So
I like the background picture. Let's get something of Sub Fighter MMA like
that's
the
what I'm
actual
talking about.
dojo.
And when you see a happy face like that,
Let's see Adam's
that's gotta
house.
be that victory face.
Show us
You know?
Adam's
How
house.
can you not show up?
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking
that's
about.
right.
Adam, real quick for the people listeners, got Adam Lynn in here, special guest today. Don't forget, Subfighter MMA, gotta check it out. You want to come check out some classes? It's at 23272 Vista Grande in Laguna Hills, California. You want to call, come down, check it out. Adam will take care of you, man. He's not gonna, go slamming people and choking them out and stuff like that. Like
Not
he
on the
wants to
first
show
day.
you, the techniques and stuff like that, so you kind of get to know, and you give them stuff that they can use. You know what I
course.
mean? So it's if you want to call, it's 949-510-2093. So
That's right.
real quick, since we're getting into the home stretch, Adam's been around for a long time, been training people. I mean, I've even remember him coming down to Long Beach Fight Night
Started out as a Marine,
and
man. He
things like
served the
that.
country.
Yeah. So we talked about before we went on the air. A lot of fighters, like we gave Henry Corrales for an example. He started training with Delo. He started working at Long Beach Fight Night. Cut his teeth there. Did really, really well. And then he wanted to expand. He wanted to get some different looks and stuff. So he told Delo, hey, man, I'm getting up to a different level. I want to start getting some different looks. And so Delo was like, yeah, absolutely. I remember Delo said, I can never blame somebody for wanting to better themselves.
Right.
He goes, I just want to be a part of it. So I never forgot that because he said that before. So is it the same with you? Because we go back and forth. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, man, and I've had people that come on and say, that's BS. You were with us from the beginning. Why now that you're starting to get up there and you might get a title shot, we get left behind? And then other guys that say, hey, look, man, like Delo, can't blame somebody for wanting to better themselves. So
Right.
give us your thoughts on that.
Wow, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I can just tell you personal experience. When I started fighting, I was with Chris Brennan for a long time, 5 years, and at that time when I was with him, I was going to, when it was Raw, I don't know if you guys remember Raw Training Center.
Real American Wrestling?
Yeah, with Chip Borelli and Frank Trigg up there, and I was...
Rico Chiparelli and Frank Trigg.
Yeah.
Frank, you broke the shocks on my Plymouth Acclaim. I still haven't forgot that. You owe me, bro. Don't forget.
But I was honest with Chris at the time and telling him what I needed. I need wrestling. I needed guys that were in just a little bit of higher caliber, and I had a vision for my career,
Right.
and I knew I wasn't going to get everything in one spot. I'm intelligent, but I had the conversation with Chris, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go box over here, I'm going to train over here, and you're still going to be my coach. How can you go wrong with that? You're being honest. It's your career,
That's right.
When fighters don't do that, and they start maybe dabbing in this gym over here, and everybody's right. It's not, nobody has like the formula to make a world champion.
Right.
Everybody's correct.
Right.
And I can tell you from my experience, like, find people that care about you, find the good training partners. And I trained a lot of different places, and really when it all came together for me was when I came back, 10 years into my career, when I came back to all the people that I started with and really started listening to, hey, just do this, do this, do this. And I really opened up to that. That's with all my experience of going other places, and I came back to those guys that knew me the best, that's when I had the best time in my career. That's just for me personally.
Yeah. So does it make a difference to get different looks from people, or is it better to stay? Because I talk a lot about comfort zone. You got to get out of your comfort zone or whatever. Because some of the fighters say, well, I'm training with the same guys, so I kind of already know what to expect from them, and I'm looking for it. But if I go somewhere else, I've never rolled with this dude before, so it gives me different looks. And
I think that's a big component. Yeah, absolutely.
So you got it, right?
My advice to people doing that is take your style, take what you do in your gym, and when I go to another gym, see how you. And I'm not a jerk about it, but
Right.
I see how I stack up against those guys, and then I bring that feedback
And
back.
that says a lot about
Yeah.
you. If you're confident enough in your coaching abilities and stuff like that to say, go ahead. And if you like it, but you're always welcome here. This is what we got for you. It says a lot about you as a coach.
Yeah. You take that feedback.
Right.
I go spar with these guys one day, and I come back and say, hey, coaches, what happened?
Right.
Let's fix this. And that's, in my opinion, that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, let me tell you something. Thomas Kinney, who's trained with us for a long time, he's actually moved on, went to the UFC gym. I had him on my show, or I think I did a live show over there. And he's a black belt from Delo, and he's black belt teaching jiu-jitsu out there at the UFC gym. And we were talking about that, and I said, well, once you get to black belt, does it change, or do you well, I know you're teaching people, but, are you always learning? He said, well, let me tell you something. He goes, I'm a legit black belt. I train every day. I teach. He goes, I went to a Chris Brennan seminar. And I sat through that whole seminar and did all the drills. And at the end, he rolled with each one of us. He goes, and I rolled with Chris Brennan on that day and felt like a white belt. He goes, I went back and I said, I got to get my butt back in there and up my game. He said he really, truly, just his techniques and the way he moved and stuff really opened my eyes and made me up my game. So tell us what it's kind of like, because I've heard that from more than a few different people.
Yeah.
So tell us kind of what it's like and what makes it, because his kids are killers.
Yeah.
I mean, his son's 15, 16.
Yep.
They kicked him out of the teen division, and he has to wrestle actual men.
Yeah.
So when you are doing something like that, that says quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, his fundamentals, like the system, he's opened a school when he was a blue belt.
Yeah.
And the fundamentals in the system he's developed over the last, 22, 23 years or something like that, it's so fundamentally sound. Even the guys that, when I was there, we had a team of 15 strong. All those guys that have since moved on, their fundamentals are incredible. Josh Hinger is one guy that comes to my mind. He's a good friend of mine at Atos headquarters, world champion, rolling with that guy, and I was a purple belt and he was a white belt when we were on the same fight team. That guy is an animal, and just the fundamentals that he took. And obviously, it's not all. I mean, he's trained with Andre Galvao. I mean, one of the best guys in the world. But the fundamentals that he has, the fundamentals that he's brought with him through his whole career, it's amazing.
Well, when you're a jiu-jitsu instructor, trainer, whatever, and you're opening gyms in Germany and stuff like that, and
around the world,
he'll have to go all around the world. And now his kids are even helping with the seminars, and even
his
doing
kids
some
are legit.
doing some on their own. I mean that says quite a bit. I mean, to me, I don't know what the epitome of jiu-jitsu or as far as that goes would be, but I would say opening gyms in other parts of the world has to be right up there, right?
Right. I would say, like the saying goes, like the true measure of leadership is influence. And just how many people and how many schools and how many different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like we had him out for our anniversary party. We had him out, did a seminar. And he's teaching the technique, but we're asking his kids the questions. Like he's helping somebody over here and we're asking his 15-year-old kid. Like,
but I mean, when you're there every day and that's your father, I mean, I can imagine, you might be asleep and get up at midnight and go, you know what? I just thought of this technique. Hey, Dad, wake up. And your dad's like,
or the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
I got a little special.
That's Robert,
role.
everybody.
I got
Throw it up.
Tyler's last super match.
Throw it up.
That was like a month ago.
Put it up there. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I'll tell you what, they're fierce. Not to interrupt you, buddy,
go for
but
it.
the Brennan kids are fierce competitors, and they are in a zone, man. When you see them out there competing, a jiu-jitsu tournament fight, whatever you want to call it, it's just rolling, and somebody can tap, but they are fierce, man. The other guy ain't got no chance.
Well, it's kind of like if you're
here it is right here, right
if
there
you're
in
Chris
the-
Brennan's son, you know the technique. There's no fear there because
That's right.
well, if he does this, I have this, in my back
I mean, look at
pocket
this
or whatever.
kid.
So
A lot of control. Got a really good opponent, obviously, but strong off his back.
and Chris Brennan is a big
Change his
what
position so
I'm talking
quick.
about
Gets
for
on
no
top.
gi. Oh, look at that.
It's like he's fighting for a foot,
Mm-hmm.
for an ankle.
Yeah, this kid's no slouch either. This kid in white.
No, not at all. That's high-level jiu-jitsu at any age.
Yeah, this is, it's his Brennan 101.
Yeah.
It's good hooks, butterfly guard.
Active guard. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rolled right into it.
Yep.
And don't forget, we got my buddy Russ Muro in the background. This was his tournament.
Well, this is that other. Yeah, that's that tournament down in Dana Point.
This has to be at a high school or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dana
Dana
Point,
Point
Dana
High School.
Hills.
He was kind enough to invite us to the
Yeah,
event.
that was really cool.
So did you shoot this or?
Yeah, we shot this ourselves. Yeah, and there it is. Hops up on there.
Finish coming.
Looks like he's gonna sink in that guillotine.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with this isolation right here.
Looks at. Do you have any figure for him? I can't see. I have my glasses on, but
No, he didn't figure for him. He's got his legs locked around him,
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like he's in guard in a stand-up position. But he's going for the Kimura. It looked like he was going for the guillotine, but he locked that arm down. He isolated the arm while going for that guillotine. Takes the Kimura,
Oh,
brings
wow.
him down, nearly
Yeah.
breaks it. My arm would have broke.
Yeah.
I was done. I was done 3 seconds ago.
Let's get that in slow motion.
Yeah.
And you see that arm and the way that it turned.
Wow.
I
Plus-
can't go
Look
that
how he
far.
scratches the back of his head with this thing.
He
Yeah.
really did scratch the back of his head.
yeah.
as
Plus
you
that
put it.
leverage of him coming down.
Yeah.
I
don't
mean,
know what
and
that
that's
was.
that,
And
and that's
when you scratch my eye, I'm gonna
Little
I'm gonna
cross
rip
face.
this
I
I
mean,
mean,
off.
and
yeah, he
that's
thought about a
Chris's
little
deal
crossface.
too. Is the Kimura. Look at that. Oh man.
Wow.
A mean Kimura.
Wow.
And the kid probably didn't know his arm was being isolated. Obviously, he got a hold of it so clean.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. That I mean, when you doing moves like that, how that was the 15-year-old or
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
younger one.
I mean, it's amazing. Now, real quick, since we're in the home stretch, we talked about this last week, and I talked about it a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we talked about it a little bit before we went on the air too. We talked about Chris Brennan no gi,
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Bravo no gi, and then you got the people who say that's not true jiu-jitsu. True jiu-jitsu's in the gi. Rafael Lovato Jr., Holger Gracie, guys like that. To me, I'm kind of on the fence because I like the traditional gi. That's what Della O is always talking about. Getting the takedown. trying to pass that guard, things like that. And then you got that other. Personally, like we said before, I think it's just because I'm jealous because I can't do none of that. I can't butt scoot and put these mission controls and stuff like that. Well, give us your opinion because you actually teach kind of like Chris Brennan, gi and no gi. So give us your thoughts on that. You think it's kind of bad for the sport that it's gotten to the Eddie Bravo and 10th Planet and they're doing these big jiu-jitsu tournaments, but it's all no gi? Or are you more traditional? Yeah, man, I like the gi. I like the IBJJF and things like that.
I appreciate jiu-jitsu. I'm more of an MMA guy. I appreciate jiu-jitsu. My whole upbringing was no gi. That was what I focused on. We do teach gi at the gym, and I have a guy that teaches for me. Justin Governor is a great brown belt. I think it's just the expansion of the sport. I think it's great for everybody. I think there's something for everybody. I would say if obviously if you're focused on MMA and you're focused on fighting, the way I tell people, me personally, if I were to attack you, my offense, I think about striking and I think about wrestling.
Right.
My defense, if I'm going to defend myself, I think about jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I think the gi's great. I think that's a whole demographic of people, and I think it's very technical. I enjoy training the gi. I enjoy it because it's not competitive for me. I enjoy getting wrapped up in crazy chokes and arm locks and stuff like that. I think the more realistic aspect is probably wrestling and submission grappling.
Yeah.
If the fight concept is where you're at.
I agree. For somebody like you, it's jiu-jitsu for MMA because that's your thought process. Personally, I hate the gi. Get choked out by an 8-year-old girl. Amen. Dello, I know it's in my head. I know you keep saying that, but I hate every aspect of it because I'm fat. No gi, I try to get on top, get that top position, wear you out because you're so gonna waste so much energy trying to get me off you. That's my game plan. I put the gi on, bam, choke me out, I'm done.
I think it's a respect to where you came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Let me just from my personal experience, because when my daughter first went to Milliken High, and Mike Cataline, who was one of the coaches out there that moved, he said, "Hey man, go in there, talk to Coach Thompson, help him out or whatever." I was bit by the bug. I got more enjoyment out of seeing a kid who was struggling, like a sophomore or something like that, when he would get against somebody that was in varsity and just do damage. I mean, that was like the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Like, see, I told you, because they're so down and everything, and then they do something like that.
You gotta commit.
Yeah. Now, do you get more? There's like when I see like Rafael Lovato Jr. When I had him on my show, they were raising his hand. He was in Brazil and he had won the gold out there in Brazil or whatever. And I said, you know what? That's something you cannot buy.
Right.
You can't buy that feeling or whatever. So do you get more enjoyment out of seeing your people do so well more than you do when you got your own victories, or is it one and the same?
Satisfaction. I guess seeing my fighters, seeing my students progress. Yeah, it's very satisfying. It's very satisfying. The actual fight life and the build up for fights it's tricky, because it's very emotional. You build up and you're on top of the world. You know what I'm saying? And then you fight and your purpose goes away.
Right.
And then it's a week or two where you're looking for the next one. You're down in the dumps, and it's like. But I would say I find more purpose and meaning like training guys, and not just for fights, but just training kids and training women and getting kids and bringing them up and seeing how they enjoy the sport and enjoy training.
And just to know that you are part of that. Now, have you ever had a fighter that surprised you? Because I've had a student that I've worked with before in wrestling, and I thought, he's going up against this kid. But let me tell you something, man. The first time I went to not the state, but the Masters, I saw kids that were 18 years old that had full beards and bigger than me.
Whoa.
I mean, huge. And I'm thinking,
What's going on?
These guys got to be taking a specific supplement or something here because,
vitamin T.
Yeah. And it was such a big difference. And this kid that we took just handled that dude.
Yeah.
And I was and he surprised me, and I thought, oh my God, I should have never thought that you were going to get killed. I should have trusted your, that what we taught you and everything like that. And he just totally surprised me.
That your base was sound, yeah.
Has that ever happened to you where you've had a fighter go, wow, he was backed up into a corner and he came out fighting and surprised you like that?
The experience that comes to my mind is when we fought Fallon Fox, when Ashley fought Fallon Fox.
There is no denying that was. I could not believe that, man.
I could tell you, because I was telling the story today, I was betting people in my own gym that didn't think we were going to win. And I was betting people, I live in San Clemente, I was betting all the bouncers at the local bars, like, you guys are buying me drinks? You guys are going to buy me drinks?
Yeah.
They're like, there's no way you guys are going to win that fight.
And not only once, but twice.
Twice.
I mean, tapped
Right.
him or her or whatever, and then okay, let's get, and bam, did it again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be like, for lack of a better term, like the best thing I've ever seen in the world.
Sure.
Because I thought you know,
That was emotional. Going back and watching that fight, that was
yeah,
emotional.
It was amazing. Just to see that beat down and no fear, and to do it twice or whatever. I mean, that was probably one of the most awesome things I've ever seen. And for you to actually be a part of it, I can. So, did she surprise you at all, or you knew it was coming?
I knew it was coming. I think I surprised everybody
still,
else,
I mean,
and
it
she
was-
knew it. I think me and her were the only two that knew it was coming.
Yeah, yeah, that was awesome. I remember that like it was yesterday. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
That was
Can I
awesome.
forget? Yeah.
Hey, well, it just goes
The
to show
mystery behind it. You know, we were
Yeah.
all intrigued to see what would happen, right?
Well, I'll be honest. I thought she was gonna get killed.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought, oh, that's a dude, you know, or whatever. And
yeah,
she
yeah.
just totally made a believer out of me from that day on, or whatever. So,
Yeah.
hey, I gotta tell you, man, to have somebody like Adam on here, you know, to talk about that, to pick his brain, and,
Thank
and
you,
just,
Adam.
and just for stories
Thank
like
you,
that,
guys.
you know, where you get that satisfaction, and he knew, you know, he had that confidence or whatever.
Absolutely.
Says a lot about that.
Yeah.
So, for the people listening to us, don't forget, if you want to check out Adam Lynn, just go to Subfighter MMA. It's at 23272 Vista Grande in Laguna Hills, California. You can call 949-510-2093. A million thank yous for coming on, Adam, and a million thank yous for being on time.
Hey, of course. Thanks,
You
guys.
and it's good to get them here early, right? And
I love it. Yeah,
talk a little
yeah.
bit before we
get
go on
loosened
here.
up and learn a little about each other. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's awesome. And of course, Miguel hanging out with us in the producer spot, man. We appreciate you being with us. Don't forget, Miguel and Dondo got their show on Sunday. What
Yeah.
time's your guys' show come on Sunday?
You know what? We're going to do it around 8 o'clock on Sundays as well. That may change, but we're looking at that. We're going to probably film during the day because different gyms and dojos have different
Yes.
times. But we want to prepare it the day of and then air it at the same time, of course, probably 8 p.m. on Sundays for Gym Crashers. We're going
Right.
to call it Gym Crashers.
Gym crashers. Plus, we don't want them coming over here eating out of a taco truck and then going over there doing techniques.
Yeah.
And
You don't wanna
upchucking
smell me after a
over
taco
there.
truck.
Yeah. They have to call Biohazard. Hey, Robert, put Biohazard on speed dial,
That's
my
right.
man.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And of course, Robert over there, if it wasn't for him, man, bringing us
None
in
of
and
this
out,
happens.
taking care of the controls, man, we appreciate you taking the time and taking care of us as far as that goes.
That's
And of
right.
course, putting up that fight with Chris Brennan's kid. It's
Awesome
awesome,
stuff.
man, to put stuff up like that so
That's-
that people can actually see
the real deal.
what we're talking about. Yeah. And Adam, a million thank yous, man. I got to tell you, man, you got something going there. You know, I've known you for a while, had you on my other show, talked a lot, but it's good to have you in person. People get to see you and you know, get to know what you're like or whatever. He's a cool dude, man. I'm telling you, for some reason, a lot of MMA fighters, they have that stigma. You know, that they can't be approached and, you know, and stuff like that. And Adam, totally not like that. I don't really know anybody do you know anybody that's like that?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I've been in it for a while. I haven't, maybe Tank Abbott or whatever, but he was hammered.
Yeah.
So, you know, that goes without saying. But
That was
anyway,
a different decade.
Yeah, I guess so.
I
don't
appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
Don't
thank you,
forget,
Adam.
Full Contact Fun-Addicts,
That's
Fan
us.
Addicts.
Fun-Addicts.
Every Monday from 8 to 9. Make sure you check us out. Don't forget, check out Adam Lynn. If you want to get some good training, make sure you go check him out. Don't
Yep.
forget, you can call 949-510-2093. We'll see everybody here next Monday. Again, a million thank yous, Roberts. Get us the heck out of here. We'll see you guys next Monday.
Peace.
Roll 'em.